All right, now that it's 10 o'clock, let's get started. Thank you everyone for joining us for our 2022 WCHA Media Day. We are on a very tight schedule with 15-minute slots per school, so I will give you the rundown quickly here. Our format will include all 8 teams, where each school will be available for 15 minutes, with the head coach opening with a statement, followed by time for them to open up for questions. Then after 10 minutes with each head coach, we'll move on to student athletes, where they will be available for 5 minutes of questions. Please remain muted, join us muted and stay that way until you have a question, and then utilize the raise hand feature. Dean from our office then will make it available for you to unmute and ask your question. When you do so, please introduce yourself with both your name and affiliation for our coaches and our student athletes. This will also be recorded and uploaded to our WCHA YouTube page this afternoon as well. With that, I can pass it over to our interim commissioner, Tracy Deal.
Thanks, Jen. I appreciate it. Exciting time to begin the 24th season of WCHA hockey. We're excited. It's going to be a great year. We return many outstanding players, along with, as you know, top-notch coaches, which is the key to success for any program. The competition within our conference is going to be spectacular, as you saw in the preseason poll, how close it was. But I would like to welcome 3 new athletic administrators to our conference as well, with Forrest Carr at University of Minnesota Duluth, Brittany Lawrenson at Bemidji State University, and then Holly Schreiner at St. Cloud State University. So big thanks to them as well. Would like to thank our WCHA staff. They've put a lot of work in as we prepare for the upcoming season, and still are preparing with the games beginning in a little over a week. So we're excited to get everything rolling. With the 22-23 season, there's the NCAA implemented several new rule changes, and I want to introduce our longtime supervisor of officials, Greg Shepard, to discuss the changes in the league for this upcoming year. So Shep, take it away. Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy, and good morning, everyone. I'll make this quick. There has been some rule changes this year, and I'm going to touch on the major ones that will affect the game, and you might have questions during the game. First will be the major penalties. As everyone knows, a major penalty, checking from behind, contact to the head, is a major in a game misconduct or a disqualification or supplemental discipline. This year, what the committee has done has made the major penalty an option, where the official goes in and looks at it, and he can call a major standalone penalty for checking from behind or contact to the head. It will be up to the official to make that call. Now, again, directions from the NCAA says if it is a major in a game, make sure you call it. Make sure that you just don't kind of go to a major penalty and move on and expect the league to take action. So that is one major rule change. It stemmed kind of from the men's side a little bit, where there's been hits that really didn't qualify to get rid of a player, but their rule, checking from behind, states that anything from behind into the boards, end boards, sideboards, goal cages, and I make game misconduct along with the major penalty. So they're giving the referees an option to use this season, and we'll see how that progresses. The other one is video replay. Video replay, the coaches are going to get a challenge this year to challenge a play or try to overturn a play. The first challenge, if they have a timeout and they're right, they keep their timeout. If they lose their timeout. Now, they can challenge again, but if they do and they're wrong, it's a minor penalty. So they can keep challenging, but if they're wrong, they're going to get minor penalties on that. So that's the video replay this year with a coach's challenge. They figured that, like the NHL, they're going to give the coach an option, and it's going to have to be up to him or her if they want to challenge the play that the referee is called or not called. The other thing is overtime. We're staying 3-on-3 with a shootout. Now, there was some controversy where non-conference games or when opponents from other leagues would come in, you would not play the shootout. In WCHA and Hockey East, we will be playing the shootout during the season. So if you see a non-conference game where a team from ECAC or Hockey East or Atlantic or whatever comes in to play our teams or our exhibition games, we can use the shootout, and that's what we will be doing in the WCHA this season. Our points of emphasis this year, our face-off protocol, which is the first time the arm goes up by the linesman, signaling that there's been a warning, and the next time that there's an encroachment, there is a minor penalty. Now, talking to our coaches last spring, they want it enforced. I think our officials or linesmen did a good job on it. We called 6 penalties last year for face-off violation, and we're going to make sure that we start from the beginning of the season, not the middle, not the end, but from the beginning of the season to make sure that it works and that our coaches and players abide by the rules. Safety protocol for players, that's another point of emphasis, that we protect our players. We got to make sure that at all times, it's a safe game, it's a tough game, and in women's hockey, there is contact. It's not, that's the way it is. There's no checking, but there is contact. Angling and stuff or bumping are part of the game. But as officials, we got to make sure that we make sure that that's all it is. It's not a big time check or a hit to head or anything like that. Supplemental discipline is another point of emphasis, and that is done by the league. This year with Tracy as the new commissioner, Tracy and I will look at a play and decide if a player should have a discipline more than they got during the game. I look at every major penalty that is called in all the games on the weekends just to make sure. The officials call me, let me know, say we had a major penalty or something you got to look at. I will look at it. I will call Tracy, say, Tracy, this is my thoughts, and we will deal with it from there. Slew footing, that's been a point for a while now where a player will take a skate out from behind and the player goes down backwards. That's a very dangerous play, and we got to make sure that we see it and make the call along with leg checks. That could put somebody out for the rest of their career, and we can't have that. The other one is embellishment/diving. Now in our league, thank God we don't have a lot of that. Maybe once in a while you'll see a little bit, but in our league, our players play hard. They play the game. They play the way they're supposed to be, and we don't take a lot of dives. So hopefully that'll continue like that, and the rest of the leagues will corral it, and we'll go from there. The other thing that was a big point was body contact, and that's a big one that they're going to be looking at this year, the NCAA in women's ice hockey. And I think the WCHA does one heck of a job on calling the game the way it's supposed to be called and let the players decide the game. But again, there's no checking. There is body contact, but there is no checking, and we got to make sure that we stay on top of that. So them are the major changes that we do have this season. If anybody has any questions, I'm here. Otherwise, during the season, I'm at a lot of games now, watching our officials. And if you have any questions while you're at the game and I'm there, or my phone number, you can call me. I'll be glad to answer anything that comes up or that you want to throw at me. So thank you very much. Hope everybody has a great season. Looking forward to it, and have a great day.
Okay, thank you, Shep, and thank you, Tracy. With that, we will move into our first team. We have Wisconsin on this morning. Last season, Wisconsin advanced to the NCAA tournament with a record of 26-8-4. In our preseason poll, it was a tight race, only a couple points between our top three teams. Wisconsin checked in at number 3, just 2 points behind the number 1 spot. Well, as a national team member, the coaches also voted incoming defender Caroline Harvey as the league's preseason rookie of the year. With that, hi, AJ. Hi, Coach Johnson.
Good morning.
Would you like to open with a statement, or do you want to just head right into questions?
It's a beautiful day in Madtown here today.
Yeah.
Great fall, best time of the year. I like the next 3 months. And so it starts with us starting the season and getting on the ice and get an opportunity to see what we have and a chance to start to make progress. And so training camp's long this year. I think it's 6 days. So we have a game in 8 days. So it's going to be strap the boots on and get ready to play.
Yeah, no kidding. I think all of us are going to be watching next Thursday, with that being our first leadoff game of the year. So with that, for our media, we'd like to open it up for questions. Please use that raise hand feature and then state your name and affiliation before your question. Oh, there's one. Todd.
Morning, Mark. It's Todd Molesky from the State Journal. How are you?
Good. Great.
My question is about your roster numbers. I know it's a little bit bigger than it was last year, but it's still on the smaller side of what teams in the WCHA have. Can you speak to what the challenges are with that, and maybe what some of the benefits are to having a roster where most of the players are going to be playing or in drills more often? I would imagine there's something on both sides of that for you.
Well, there certainly is. The first one starts with, the requirement of what I have to carry in regards to number wise. So obviously with gender equity and some of the Title IX issues that we deal with, obviously each sport has a management number. And so we try to stay around that. Obviously last year we were under it. Some other years we might be a little bit over it, but over the time, it seems like 23 to me is sort of the magic number. And I say that because we're allowed to travel 23 players. So obviously we can only dress the 21. By everybody able to travel, that keeps the players engaged. You don't have to keep anybody at home and those things, where in the past our number used to be 24, and over the course of probably the last 6 or 8 years, we've been able to work with 23, depending on any given year. Last year with the Olympic cycle, it's always going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little shorter. But as you find out in any sport, especially now more than ever, most kids, depending on what sport they're playing, they want to play, they want to dress, they want to be active in the games. And if they're not getting that with the transfer portal so heavily traveled the last couple of years, that becomes the challenge, I think, for all the coaches and all the different sports is managing your roster and trying to keep as many kids active. The one thing you don't have in place is every year you're going to have injuries, and some years you're fortunate you don't have too many. Other years you sustain kids early on or midway through where they have injuries. So it's a number that if you can stay at, and I think 23 is the number for us. It gives you an opportunity to work with those 23 players and try to manage them the best you can.
Nicole.
Hi, Mark. I wanted to ask you about goaltending. Obviously, that's really been settled for you guys for quite a few years, and so this is an unusual situation in terms of Wisconsin. So just wanted to ask you about if any decisions have been made, and just also about putting in a goalie with not a ton of game experience for you guys. Obviously, you have the defense and your possession style of play. You're hoping the goalie there'll be a good transition time for them, but I'm just curious what the situation is right now.
Well, I think, from my standpoint, I'm excited for the 3 goalies that we have, Jane and Cami have been around a number of years, and obviously they don't have as many experience game-wise some of the other goalies in the past, but they've worked hard. For them now, it's an opportunity for them to see games and gain that experience. So the early part of the season should be exciting from that standpoint to, see what they've been able to do in practice over a period of time and now take it into the games and see how comfortable, how relaxed, and how well they're able to play. So I look at it exciting for them because they've put in a lot of time. They spent a lot of energy trying to improve, and now they get an opportunity to go in and play.
Do we have other questions for Coach? Matt?
Hey, Mark, it's Matt Wellens from the Duluth News Tribune. I'll still always admit to being new to the WCHA and women's hockey, even though going into season 9 here. But it seems like this year, compared to maybe past years, there's a lot more Olympians, Olympic medalists. And the extra year of COVID probably plays a big role in that many players still being in the WCHA after Beijing and even the most recent Worlds. What's it going to be like competing and coaching in this league this year with all that talent? And it's not just spread out among a few. It's not just a few teams that have these players. It's almost everyone in the league.
Yeah, it's a good point. I was talking with a couple of people the other day and expressing that I think, the 20 years that I've been in the league, this is probably going to be the strongest that we've been. We've had some pretty good groups of teams and a strong league for a number of years now. But as you look at the talent and obviously with the COVID kids coming back, getting an opportunity to play, and the kids that were, with the Olympic cycle last year, not participating. So preseason poll, and it's interesting, but you look at each team's roster and, top to bottom from, 1 to 8 this year. Every game's going to be extremely competitive, and it's going to be fun to be a part of that. And it's certainly going to be a challenge for all the coaches to prepare their teams on every weekend.
Matt, did you have another? Well, I can't tell. All right. Any other questions for Coach Johnson? Todd.
Mark, I'd just like to ask what, given the losses of players from last season and, what you have returning from the sabbatical year, how do they, those players, how do they fit in again? Is that a challenge for them after a year away from the team? And maybe when you look at Jesse and KK, who haven't been with the team before, how do you get them back into the mix as well as possible, as early as possible, I guess?
Well, I think, for everybody, we have 6 freshmen coming in this season. So it'll be similar for those individuals, along with the ones you mentioned, to come back in. And that's the process that you have to start on day one. And you start to build team chemistry and kids getting to know one another and getting used to each other on the ice. And, that starts in practice, and it'll really begin for us, next Thursday when we head to Penn State and start playing games, because to me, that's when you get, true information about, individuals and players and collectively as a team. So everybody's got a big smile on their face. Everybody's working hard. Everybody's, came back into school in very good shape. And, we've been on the ice a few times, but, what I'm seeing up to this point, gets me excited just to see where we can go and how good we can become in a very competitive league. So, whether it's Jesse or whether it's KK or whether it's, Britta Curl, Natalie Buckbinder, kids that, could have been part of our team last year, but were part of the national team. And then you bring in our freshmen. So probably half our team this year is newbies as far as coming back and weren't part of our group last year. So I'm excited for them. Obviously, with the upperclassmen, they've been around the block. They understand who we are and what we're all about. And it'll be fun to watch us the early part of the season.
All right, I think we have time for one more if there are any more questions. Nicole?
Hey, Mark, I just wanted to ask about sort of it's an interesting sort of 12 months in terms of like the wear and tear on the body for players like KK and Jesse, and they've had very little downtime after centralization and then going right into Worlds, now coming right to you guys. So I wanted to ask about managing that and ensuring that those players are available to you for a full season.
Yeah, good point. I mean, obviously, they came back from Denmark, and typical hockey players, they got back here one day and the next day we're starting our practice, and, we're trying to convince them not to go on the ice, but they're hockey players and they want to jump on the ice and go at it. And so I think at the start of the season, everybody's excited. Everybody's, anxious to get on the ice. And then, with all the other teams that we've had in the past, that's part of the process is managing not only individual players, but managing your team as you navigate through the entire season. It's a long season. There's a lot of practices, there's travel, there's games, there's school. A lot of things go into it. So, we'll try to manage each of those players in the best we can. And obviously with recovery and information that we're able to gather in games and in practices and watch them, our training staff and our strength training coach, I think, do a real good job of managing it. So they like to play hockey. They like to compete. They like to play games. And so that's the exciting part. And the other stuff sort of takes care of itself if you keep your eyes on things.
Perfect. Well, thank you for your time, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks. Up next from Wisconsin, we have graduate defender and two-time national champion, Nicole Lamontia. Last year, she was a four-time WCHA Defender of the Week and was named second team all WCHA. Do we have questions for Nicole? Hi. Todd.
Hi, Nicole. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. I'm wondering what it has been like getting the band back together a little bit with some of the players who were gone last season, Britta and Lacey and Nat. Have you seen much from them in terms of any differences in the way they play or how they look at the game?
Yeah, it's definitely been super exciting getting them back. I definitely missed them in the locker room and little things like that. But I think overall they're just like hungry to start games and just ready to put on a Badger jersey again. I think they're all really excited and definitely really excited for our game next Thursday and ready to be back with the group.
Other questions? Nicole?
Hi, Nicole. I just wanted to ask a little bit about sort of getting that help back on defense. I know that you particularly have been a little bit more offensive minded and letting those shots go from the blue line. And obviously we know KK can score. So just a little bit about sort of the offensive mindedness of the defense, and then also just sort of shoring up that defense and really bringing in the experience that you guys obviously had been missing a little bit.
Yeah, I think definitely with myself and KK, our style of play, I think we're both very offensive and kind of can act like a fourth forward in the zone. And I think with our depth, all around, not only on defense, but on offense this year, I think we'll be able to use each other a lot and be able to provide a lot more offense that we weren't really able to do all the time last year, just trying to be defensive minded and not let pucks go, in our zone and try to play in the offensive zone more. And then I think, this year we added a ton of depth on D. Everyone's looked really good in practice, really comfortable and really confident. So really excited for our group back on our D core and what they're going to do next Thursday.
Todd?
What do you feel like as a group, you guys need to be better at this year than you were last year throughout the course of the season?
Good question. I think overall, just one thing is just being confident in each other. I think, on paper and the talent that we have, we're going to be a really skilled group, and everyone should be comfortable and confident with whoever's on the ice and just trusting our teammates, trusting each other, and just trust the person next to you is going to give everything they can because they want to, be out there just as bad as you do.
And Nicole will be our last question.
Nicole, does it make a difference? You guys, you had sort of known quantities behind you in net before. And I know obviously you've practiced with the goalies that you have, but it is just a different situation for you all to go in with a question mark in net heading into the season. Does it change? How does that change things from a defensive perspective? But also, do you think that it helps having sort of the depth that you guys have on defense for the goalie to be able to transition into the season?
Yeah, I think to your point, definitely the depth will make, whoever's in net a lot more comfortable. And obviously for us, it's just going to be our job to do whatever we can to, stop pucks from getting to the goalie as quick as we can. And then also just trust in them, trust that whoever's in there, they're going to do their job and be comfortable with, whoever our staff decides is the best fit for our team in the net that day.
Perfect. Well, thank you for your time, Nicole, and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, up next, then we head into St. Thomas. For St. Thomas, we have head coach Joel Johnson. Him and the Tommies head into their second season of Division I action and with the WCHA, where last year they earned a 5-27-1 overall record. They earned their first Division I and league win over Bemidji State, and then they had a very exciting sweep of RIT on the road for non-conference play. Overall, Johnson's squad includes 3 graduate transfers in addition to 16 returning players. So that's pretty exciting. With that, Coach, do you have an opening statement for us?
Thank you. I'm excited for this year for a variety of reasons. Obviously, we're in a unique spot within the WCHA. You've got 7 established programs who've been around for a long time. In my opinion, one of the, if not a dominating conference in any sport in the history of the NCAA. And we're still kind of making our way through transitioning from D3 to D1, which is unprecedented. So it's an exciting time to be around St. Thomas for me personally. Last year, obviously, had a little bit of a split responsibility with the U.S. National team program, and so I'm very excited just to kind of have all my efforts and all my mental focus be with our team. Certainly got to know our group last year, but am so excited for this upcoming season, knowing it'll be a very difficult challenge. As we continue our transition into a full-time D1 institution and athletics program and women's hockey program specifically, which is why I referenced earlier, the WCHA is maybe not the friendliest league to try to do that in. But we're excited nonetheless. When we look back at last year, felt like we had some incredible success, both that showed up in the win-loss column, but some of the stuff that was behind the scenes is maybe what I'm most proud of. I've shared this so often that when I got back from the Olympic experience and heard our players tell the story of the season from their viewpoint in our spring meetings with individuals, I found myself very jealous that I missed out on so many cool opportunities and unique moments that they all shared in. And so I'm just excited to be a part of it this year.
We're looking forward to it. With that, do we have questions for Coach? Nicole.
Hi, Joel. With the international experience that you and some of your players have had, how important is that for preparing yourself for WCHA schedule, you and the players? And then also, what do you think that you all learned doing that you can bring back to this team?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it's 2 different things. I've shared before, coaching an international team, whether it's a short-term tournament or an Olympic residency year, you're preparing totally differently. You're looking at a real small sample size of games you're going to play and trying to, accelerate 4 years into 4 months into 2 weeks into one game to try to win a gold medal. And that is the opposite of what I believe maybe I'm called to be as a college coach. And that is to teach a whole person and to engage in a process where through athletics and academics and the atmosphere of an on-campus experience, we get a chance to be involved in a student athlete's life. And so I think there's parts of it that you take something from competitive, and learning about the game and learning about different techniques and tactics, and other parts of it that I have to say, this is totally different. And I'm actually really excited that it is different. I think for our players that had the international experience in the Olympics, what they learned is a continuation of what they knew before, and that is to perform at the highest level and what the highest standards are. And as I listened to Mark Johnson speak and Nicole from Wisconsin, our league is filled with international players who have represented their country, whether it's world championships or an Olympic experience or anything else. And so that's going to be no surprise to them when they see the familiar faces across the bench. And so I think that's what our players will hopefully bring, is that they're not going to be surprised at how good our league is. They're going to be expecting it and anticipating it and rising to the challenge.
Ryan.
Hey, Joel, how you doing?
Good.
I guess my question is, you said at the start of last season, you told me you wanted to compete. That was your number one thing. Have your expectations, got raised a lot going into this season, or are they still kind of at the same level?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we're still in the process of figuring that out, the answer to that question. I do know we still want to compete, and I thought we did a great job of that last year at St. Thomas. There wasn't a series that I didn't think we competed in. And I think the feedback I hear from other coaches are, man, you're a tough team to play against. And that's still going to be our primary emphasis, in particular, because there's been so many changing environments with COVID and with, whatever you want to call them, super seniors because of COVID, or people transferring, or Olympic participants or national team participants, kind of coming back into their college programs. I see the league actually being more difficult to compete in this year than it was last year. And so I feel like if we can continue to compete every weekend, that should be our measure of success. And hopefully that translates to more wins than we had last year. But because of the strength of our league, it's going to be really difficult to attain that. And that's a credit to the success of all the other coaches in the league and the rosters they've put together. And so I'd say it's going to be similar. But I think there's no coach out there that doesn't want to win more than you won last year. So we're going to try to do that.
Ryan.
Last year you guys switched goaltenders, sometimes game by game, series by series. Do you feel like that's going to happen again between Alexa and Saskia, or have you kind of not made that decision quite yet?
Yeah, I think it'll be a moving target for us as we go. We're fortunate to have Alexa and Saskia who both played really well at different times. Obviously Saskia was involved with the national team and Olympic team, so she was gone for a bit. We also have added Maggie as a freshman goaltender. And so we're excited about the competition that's going to take place in that. And, like a lot of teams, I think very few times do you go in, having a real committed, hey, we've got a senior who's going to play most of the games. More often than not, teams in the league are going to have multiple options in that. And we're looking forward to see that competition take place.
Do we have other questions for Coach Johnson? Ryan?
What do you think, what do your transfers bring to the table this year? You're bringing some new players in. What do you think what do they bring in particular, each one of them?
Well, I don't know what each one will bring, because I met two of them for the first time about 2 weeks ago. So I don't know them yet individually enough to give a comment on that, but I think what they bring is experience. We found that last year with some grad transfers, and, St. Thomas is such a great place to get a grad certificate or a grad degree. And And we're excited to have 3 players join us in a unique situation. And part of the reason that we felt really good about it is because of the impact that we had last year with some grad transfers. And so we're excited. What they bring is experience, and not only international experience, but just having been at a Division I level. And so the opportunity for our transfers to bring the knowledge of what it takes to win each weekend or to compete each weekend is an incredible addition to our group, because we're still working towards building a complete Division I roster. But I'll tell you what, the players that we've had that started as Division III athletes have learned what it takes to be a Division I athlete. And so the more people we can get on the same page with that, including our transfers, it helps us be prepared each weekend for the tough task of playing in the WCHA. And so I think that's what I would say, that what they bring more than anything else is just what it takes to be a D1 athlete and compete at the highest level on the ice, and also academically and socially and everything in between.
All right. Coach, does Anna happen to be there with you?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then we will wrap up with you and head on to Anna.
Sounds good.
Thank you. All right. Hi, Anna.
Hi.
So Anna Solheim is a graduate forward using her 5th year of eligibility this year with St. Thomas. She's competed in 97 games so far in her career, including all of the 33 Division I games last season. She was a native of Shoreview, Minnesota, and was named to the WCHA All-Academic Team and tallied 10 points by 2 goals and 8 assists last season. Do we have questions for Anna? Ryan.
Hi, Anna.
Hi.
Looking back at last season, the first at the D1 level for the program, how much progress do you feel the team made over the course of the year?
Over the course of the year, I definitely think we made a lot of progress. Definitely one day at a time, which was the fun part. We just showed up every day to compete and grow, and seeing us from the beginning of the year to the end of the season was really fun.
Other questions? Nicole. Do you need to unmute, Nicole?
Getting up to speed, sorry. My computer's glitching. And getting up to speed, can you talk a little bit about that from the player side, and what that experience was like for you, and how you feel sort of having that 1 year of D1 experience under your belt?
Yeah, so started off as a D3 player and just wasn't sure what that experience would be like starting last season. But the coaches really helped us out, just making sure that we focused on the specific day, not looking too far ahead into the season or anything, and showing up to each practice and game, competing. And yeah, it was just such a fun experience as a player and going through the process with the whole group.
Ryan?
I asked Joel this question about his expectations going into the year and if they've been raised from the first season. Have your expectations gone up going into this year as the team?
Yeah. Yes, I think so. Can't exactly tell the exact number of wins or losses or anything like that, but I know the girls have put in a ton of work this summer, and looking at where we ended last season, I know we'll continue to grow, again, just each and every day, focusing on that process.
I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions. Nicole?
You know, because sometimes wins or losses are out of your control, and also just because it's a tough league and your progress isn't only going to show on the scoreboard, what are some of the things that you look towards to show that like the team is growing, and so that you guys kind of keep that motivation and maybe don't get, you know, discouraged if the wins aren't coming the way that you might hope that they would?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it's a lot of times hard to see it without the wins and losses and that way. But I think for us, it's just like Coach Jay was saying before, showing up to the rink every day and truly competing and battling, and just as a group continuing to grow in our relationships and encourage each other and stay close throughout the season.
Do we have one more question for Anna? All right. Well, thank you for your time, Anna, and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, up next we head on to Minnesota Duluth. Before we get into that, I want to remind our media members to use the raise hand feature if you have a question, and then introduce yourself with both your name and affiliation. And this will also be recorded on our YouTube this afternoon. With that, we have head coach Maura Krall. Last season, Minnesota Duluth advanced to the NCAA championship game with a record of 27-12-1. And with their postseason run, the Bulldogs made back-to-back Frozen Four appearances. For this year, they were predicted to finish 4th in the WCHA preseason poll, while Olympian Ashton Bell and Patty Kazmaier Award finalist Gabby Hughes were named to the preseason All-League team. Hi there, Coach.
Good morning.
Do you want to open with a statement for us?
Sure, yeah. It's an exciting day. Love Media Day means we're close to hockey season. So thanks for those of you that have joined us. It's an exciting time around the rink here, coming off a great historic run for us last season, and getting going again. You know, we have a lot of familiar faces on the roster, just 5 newcomers with 4 freshmen and 1 transfer. So a lot of experience, a lot of familiarity, and a lot of maturity, I would say, with our team, which is really fun. And I think we're really excited to get going. It's coming very soon. We're heading to New York next Friday. So things are moving rapidly. And I think this is going to be one of the best years in all of college women's hockey. Frankly, some of the rosters that people have put together for this season are incredible. And I think the fans are in for a real treat.
Mm-hmm. I think we're all looking forward to that. With that, we'll open it up to questions. Matt.
Hey, Maura, it's Matt Wellens from the News Tribune. How you doing?
Hi, Matt. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, we didn't talk a lot this summer, which means it was quiet, which I like.
That's
right. You mentioned these incredible rosters. I think that's especially true in the WCHA this year. Your team returns an Olympic gold medalist, a top 3 Patty Kaz finalist, all these 5th-year seniors, but like you're not the only team that's doing that. What are going to be the challenges coaching and everything in a pretty loaded WCHA this year?
Yeah, I think it's going to be incredibly challenging across the board, you know, night in, night out. We talk about that every year in the WCHA, and this year in particular, I think the people that have come back, whether they were on an Olympic roster or not, the people coming back, as well as the 5th year piece, makes it just an extremely unique and I think really exciting time for women's hockey. And, you know, what's the challenge? It's, you know, putting together a group of players who believes that they can compete, who has the experience in big moments. I think that's one of our bonuses, is that we have a lot of players who have played in a national championship game and international experience, high level competitive games, and they know what it takes. So I think it's getting everybody up to speed and ready to roll. And I think with an older team, you have a lot of people that understand what it takes to be successful in the WCHA. And there are going to be ups and downs throughout the long and grueling season. And you just have to stay the course and focus on getting better every opportunity you can.
Nicole.
Hi, Maura. Nicole Heisi, WCHA. Hi, you got asked a lot sort of in the moment about the expanded tournament and how, you know, fitting it was that it was one of your goals and your team got in, but now sort of with the benefit of the few months that have passed, just wanted to ask you about the expanded tournament and your thoughts on it now that you've had that little bit of time to think about it, but also just what I think maybe it means for the game and moving forward.
Yeah, I think, you know, my feelings remain similar to when I was in the moment. I think our sport deserved the expanded bracket. I think the event last year was incredibly successful. I think the teams were incredibly talented, and the parity was clear. So I think I was really happy to be a part of that expansion committee and then show that it was worthwhile. So I'm excited for the future of women's hockey with the 11-team bracket, and hopefully down the line we'll get to 12 soon.
Todd?
Hi, Maura. It's Todd Molesky from the Wisconsin State Journal. How are you?
Good. Hi, Todd.
Good. I'm curious. I hear coaches talk a lot about making sure you're improving throughout the season, you're at your best at the end. What for you last season was the thing that improved so much that you were at your best at the end, and what do you hope it will be this season, or maybe it's similar or if it's different?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, we always talk about getting better every day, and I'm sure a lot of people talk about that, but really believing in that and focusing on the process, not just the outcomes, I think keeps the team really grounded. In our league, as I mentioned, you're going to have ups and downs, and if you really ride those out, you could have a roller coaster sort of experience. But if you stay true to your values and what your process is, I think the proof is in the pudding as you get going. And, we had a massive injury to Maggie Flaherty last year in the middle of the second semester. And we had to sort of regroup from that point forward and figure out what our D core was going to look like. And I think that was a bit of a turning point for our team, people stepping up and figuring out, yeah, we can do this without one of our best players. I think that was inspirational for our group. We didn't like the way we played in the final face-off, and I think we were sure to make sure that we wanted to be sure to make sure that didn't happen after that. So there was a lot of motivation, and I think our group is just a really proud group up here at UMD. We love playing in the WCHA. We know we're a bit of an underdog in this league, and we love to prove people wrong. So I think that was the fighting spirit there towards the end, and we went on a great run in the NCAA tournament. So that would be my answer to that one, Todd.
Matt?
Maura, what's it been like to get Ashton back from her sabbatical last year? And to kind of steal a good question Nicole asked Mark earlier in this, how do you maybe manage her after what's been a really grueling 12 months, and even all your players that are coming back from the Worlds?
Yeah, it's fantastic having Ashton back in so many ways. She's such a great leader for our program and a great person and a true connector of all people. Even though she's a lot older now than our freshmen, she's well connected to everybody on our team, and does such a good job off the ice of making people feel welcome and confident. And so that's one piece. And then having her on the ice is just incredible. Love to see her out there, her speed on the back end and her offensive ability. It's just so fun to watch. And I really think she inspires the defensive group around her to play a little more freely, a little more offensively, and to try new things. So it's hard to put it into words, but she's a huge piece of what we're doing this year, as you could expect. And in terms of managing her and the others who just got back last week, I think it's just talking to them frequently, making sure we're communicating about what their needs are and how they're feeling both physically and emotionally, and making sure they're getting the rest that they need, especially at this point in the year. I think recovering is really important, and they're telling us what they need, and we're going according to that. But we have games next weekend, so there's only so much that we can do in that respect. But they're excited. I think when kids go away and play for their national teams, that's one experience, and they love it, and representing your country is the highest honor. But when they come back here, it's their family, this group that they've been with for many years. So it's something that they have a lot of pride in, and love to be back with the group. So it's not too hard to get the most out of them.
Alicia?
All right. Hi, Maura. It's Alicia Tippy from WDIO. I'm going to also bug you about Ashton. I was just going to say for her to return and then immediately be recognized by the WCHA on the all preseason team. I mean, how good does that make you guys feel, especially like you were saying, as potentially feeling like the underdogs heading into seasons?
Yeah, it's great. It's great for Ashton. It's always nice when the league's coaches recognize your players as some of the best in the league. And as has been mentioned, I'm sure many times this morning, the league is so strong this year. So to have any players on that preseason roster is really, it's nice to see. So it's great. She came off of a really successful year prior to going to the Olympics as well. All-American was a big part of getting us to that Frozen Four in Erie that year. So, add the gold medal and her performance with Canada last year. I think she has earned the accolades, and I'm sure she's really excited to get going again in NCAA hockey.
All right, our last question is going to be from Duncan.
Can you hear me, Coach?
Now I can.
Yeah,
how are you?
Hey, Coach. Duncan Goldberg, KBJR. Obviously, the girls are probably going to be pretty jazzed up this year about the Frozen Four being in town. I'm just trying to wonder, how do you kind of keep them grounded? Because it's a really, really long season, and make sure that they keep their goal on, one game at a time.
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, we're not going to talk about it a whole lot, especially in September. We're just getting going and trying to figure out what kind of team we're going to be this year. So we have our eye on that ultimate prize of winning a national championship every year. And it doesn't matter where it is, we want to be in it. So it's obviously special to have it in Duluth. And I know the university is really excited about hosting it and putting on a tremendous event. But we have a lot of work to do to get to that point. So we'll keep it in the distance and not talk about it too much right now.
Great. Thank you, Coach. We're looking forward to seeing the Bulldogs this season.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next, we're going to move on to Gabby Hughes from Minnesota Duluth. Gabby is a graduate forward and was named a Patty Kazmaier Top 3 finalist and a Hockey Humanitarian Award finalist last season. She was named a first-team All-American after collecting first-team All-WCHA honors with a 59-point season. Hi, Gabby.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Are you excited to be back on campus?
Yeah. Yep. Loving it.
Yeah. Do we have questions for Gabby? Matt?
Hey, Gabby, it's Matt from the Duluth News Tribune. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Matt?
Good. You get Ashton Bell back this year. For you personally and a lot of the team, what's it like to have her back in the not just on the ice, but back in the locker room, back at home and such, seeing her back on campus and such again?
Yeah, she's like Coach said, she's such a great leader, and she's just a people's person with everybody on the team. She gets along with everybody and makes sure that everybody's included. So she's always rallying people to go for bonfires on the beach, on the rocks, whatever. So to have that energy back and to have somebody that really gets that kind of stuff going is obviously super huge for the team aspect, but also just in the locker room and at the rink, she's a great leader and always leads by example and definitely brings that little extra aspect of leadership that we need this year. So just super excited to have her back and go to bonfires with her and do all those things that she loves doing.
I love hearing the non-hockey side of it. That's so fun. Matt?
Gabby, on the ice, what is she bringing now coming back from that time centralized with Team Canada? I know it's really early yet, and she was gone at the World, so you probably don't have a ton of ice time with her, but any differences you've noticed in how Ashton, whether it's training, competing, playing, anything out there? What have you seen?
She's definitely was an amazing player, and she still is, but she just brings such a different aspect to the rink on the D core. Kind of like Coach was saying, she really inspires that defensive core that we have to be more offensive, and she has so much confidence out on the ice, and I think that really gives other girls that confidence and that comfort piece that they can try new things and do those kind of things out there too. So just having her out there and watching her do some of the drills when we do 5-on-5 in zone or whatever it may be, it's fun to watch. And the experience that she has and the stuff that she tries and makes look so easy is super fun to watch, and definitely excited to learn from her again for another year and have her back so we can all benefit from that.
Alicia?
Hey, Gabby, it's Alicia from WDIO. Talking about some of that comfortability, Maura mentioned, how important is it for you guys? She said you just have 5 newcomers, 4 freshmen, and 1 transfer. Otherwise, you guys all know each other really, really well. How do you plan to use that to your advantage in a WCHA where a lot of other teams have that as well?
Yeah, right. It's definitely something that we take a lot of pride in is how close we are as a group. We're each other's best friends. And like Coach said, we're a family up here. And I think just using that to our advantage. And when things get tough, we like to hold each other a little bit tighter instead of separating and going into our own little isolations and stuff. So I think just using how much we've learned and benefited from doing that in the past and continue to grow that and keep on using that this season is obviously super important. I think incorporating in the younger girls into that so far has been super successful. Already a super tight knit group with adding in those 5 other girls, and they fit in super well. So I think just using how close we are and how much we love each other to our advantage and really holding each other tight when things do get tough, because they always seem to come in and have tough situations. So just being able to do that and continue to do that and be able to do it a little bit better.
Our last one's Nicole.
Gabby, you obviously had a great season last year. And I know that the team goal, the big goal is, winning trophies, winning the national title. But what did you learn last year that you think will help you this year? And what maybe are some of your personal goals? What do you want to accomplish or improve from your game?
Yeah, I think just what we've learned from last season is being able to really play anyone at any given time and just give it your best every single game. Being able to have that tournament expansion and making it last year, we really used that to our advantage. So just playing every single game so we don't have to rely on getting a bid into the tournament or whatever it may be. I think just showing up every single moment we get is something that we learned as a team. As an individual, I just want to have a lot of fun this year. It's my last year as a Bulldog and last year putting on that jersey. So just soaking in every single moment I can with my teammates and the staff here, which is hard because it'll be the last time I get to do a lot of things here at UMD. So the points and everything, that'll come when they come. But most importantly, I just want to soak in every moment I have putting on the Bulldog jersey, and doing that for 1 more year is sad, but really excited to have that experience again.
Great. Thank you, Gabby. We're looking forward to seeing you on the ice again.
Thank you.
Have a good one. All right. Now we will move on to Minnesota. Last season, Minnesota had a 29-9-1 record and a 21-6-1 mark in the WCHA to win the regular season title and the Julianne By Cup. The Gophers were predicted to finish on top again in the 22-23 preseason poll, with Taylor Heisi being named preseason player of the year. On the squad, 4 first years joined the lineup of 15 upperclassmen on the roster. So first up, we have head coach Brad Frost. Hi, Coach.
Hey, how are you?
Good. We're having fun so far.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Do you have what do you want to talk about with the season this year?
Yeah, we're just, as I'm sure all coaches have said, we're really excited about the season. We've got a great team, a very veteran laden group, and a lot of players who have had some really good international experience as well. So we're focused, we're ready, excited about the upcoming season in the WCHA, and looking forward to it.
Great. Questions for Coach? Matt?
Hey, Brad, it's Matt Wellens from the Duluth News Tribune. Both Mark and Maura have talked about how unique this year is, and Maura used incredible when describing the rosters of teams throughout college hockey and the WCHA. Most coaches, I feel like, would be pretty confident going in with 9 fifth-year seniors and Olympic medalists and a Patty Kaz winner, but a lot of teams have something similar, minus the Patty Kaz winner. What are the challenges? What is it like going into this season, and how does it compare to years past, coming off these Olympic years?
Yeah, I would agree with Maura and Mark. I think this is going to be the most talented group of teams that we've ever had in the WCHA and probably nationally, which is really exciting, obviously, for all of the teams in the WCHA, but also the fans and those that love women's hockey. So very, very exciting. I think in saying that, it's similar to every other year in the WCHA, right? There's top rated teams, there's nationally ranked teams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And this is just another example of it. Obviously, there's the fifth year group. There's athletes coming back from the Olympics. And so maybe there's each team is a little more stacked, but all in all, it's just like any other year in the WCHA. It's going to be a grind. Every game is going to be important. Every point is important, and you just can't take a weekend off. And we saw that again last year. And as you continue to see the quote unquote bottom half of the WCHA getting better and better, it just makes for an exciting time.
Nicole.
Hi, Brad. Nicole Heisi, USCHO.
Hi, Nicole.
I wanted to ask about bringing in Josephine and Nelly. It's been a few years since we've seen some non-North Americans at Minnesota, and just what you saw from those players and what having the international, not just international players, but international players with massive international tournament experience brings to your roster.
Yeah, it's been great. As you mentioned, we don't have a lot of Europeans generally on our team. Nora and Mira being our last Finns, and knowing when Nelly was young in her age that she was going to be a really good player, and so excited to bring her on the back end. She's been one of the top defensemen for Team Finland here for a long time, and so excited for her to bring that talent and ability to the WCHA into our program. Josefin, same kind of thing, really, really good in the Swedish Hockey League, good in the Olympics, and somebody that's got a real good scoring touch. And I think even beyond that, they're just incredible people, and they bring a little different flair to our team. And anytime I think you have people from different countries, it just expands the cultural mindset of the group, and they're going to definitely do that for our team.
Other questions for Coach? All right, I think that's it, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have fifth-year forward and reigning Patty Kazmaier Award winner, Taylor Heisi, joining us. Taylor was named the 2022 WCHA preseason player of the year after garnering the Springs Player of the Year honor. She was a 3-time WCHA Forward of the Month and registered a 66-point season. In international competition this summer, Heisi was also named MVP at the 22 IIHF Women's World Championship. Hi, Taylor.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
Do we have questions for Taylor? Todd.
Hi, Taylor. It's Todd Molesky from the Wisconsin State Journal. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great, thanks. I wonder what it means to players to have this raised level of competition, of talent on the ice every weekend you're playing in the WCHA. And you've seen it obviously playing internationally, but when you get to the college level, what does that mean to you to have to raise your game every night, or you have a risk falling short?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an amazing thing for women's hockey in general. Having this compete and this utmost talent level that we have right now, I mean, that means that women's hockey is growing. And obviously, Frosty said the same thing, that I think that this year is going to be really special with a lot of talented players. And not to say we haven't had that in the past in the WCHA, because we have, but I definitely think this year is going to be really, really amazing, just in the sense of you can't take a weekend off. And I think even those teams that have in the past been at the bottom of the WCHA are moving up. And we even had that shown to us last year a little bit, where you don't even get to take a period off at this point, because that can be detrimental to obviously the score of the game and how you go. But I definitely think that WCHA play is going to be some of the best we can get, and it's definitely going to prepare us for the end of the season.
Nicole?
Hi, Taylor. Nicole Heisi, WCHA.
Hi.
Wanted to ask, we've talked to some of the coaches about managing the sort of unusual past 12 months in terms of times with the national team and then obviously just having worlds, but you know, it's a long college hockey season and you're coming into it after a really tough tournament, just how you're managing yourself like physically and mentally in terms of making sure that it like come March, you're still in the position you want to be in.
Right. Yeah. I think it, like you said, it's managing how I feel and how things are going both mentally and physically. Took a little time off after the World Championships, obviously, and much needed at that point with my body and mentally and stuff. But I'm so ready for this year. I think our team, it brings a special like joy to the rink and excitement. I think having 27 people on your roster who can all compete and who all show up for practice. And in my opinion, we have some of the best players in the country. So being able to practice against them and everything like that, it helps me to be at my best and also show me if I'm not necessarily feeling the best mentally or physically that I might need to take a day off here and there or go see our trainer more than I am. I think it's good to keep me humbled in that sense of knowing what I need and how my body feels.
Nicole?
As a leader on the team, how are you guys managing with the roster that you have and with the rosters of other teams in the WCHA? Like every week could be really intense and sort of really be up. And how are you guys managing as like a leadership group and in the locker room, sort of being able to keep an even keel and build throughout the season and not sort of treat every weekend as though it's a championship match?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to think about it. I think every game, especially being a fifth year now where this is actually my last season, I think it's easier for the seniors and the fifth years to go out there and play like it's your last because you honestly never know what it's going to be. But I think we're going to have a lot of really amazing roles in our team. And if we can get everyone to buy into those and truly make our group as special as it possibly can be, I think it's going to be easy for us to show up every weekend and just be our best, but just know that everyone has their role and everyone's special, no matter if you're playing every other shift or if you're not playing during the game. I think we have such certain personalities in our team that can really help us and really help us to succeed in both on and off the ice. Because I think in order to be a great team on the ice, you have to be a great team off the ice, and we're really working on those deep connections.
Todd?
A lot of people have a lot of expectations on your team, obviously. Who do you think is going to surprise some people from the Gophers this season?
From our team?
Yeah.
Obviously, Frosty talked about it. I think our two newcomers from Sweden and Finland, Nelly and Josefin, I think those two, after watching them in the World Championships, are going to really come out and cause some havoc, especially with some of the teams we're playing. I think our freshman class is amazing. I also think we're going to have a lot of people on our team that have a lot to prove. But in the best way. There's no pressure on them, just like they have everything to prove, especially with the fact that we have so many players on our team and so many different line combinations and everything that could potentially go right for us. So I think, honestly, there's a lot of people that are going to jump out. It's just going to depend on what day it comes out. So,
Zachary?
Hi, Taylor. Zach Rodier from Scar and Gray Sports Radio and Big Ten Plus. I was just wondering, after all the experience that you've had on the World Championships this past season, what have you seen from other WCHA players that you've been able to either be on the same team with or play against, and Emma Malte and other people that you think you can use this season against them?
Yeah, I just think that obviously competitive play in the IHF and World Championship stage is a lot different from college hockey, just in a lot of the play styles and everything like that. But I definitely love to see like the WCHA coming out and having some really amazing players do some really amazing things on stages like that. It just shows that we are, in my opinion, the best conference and the most competitive at the end of the day. So I think definitely having that kind of a mindset and seeing how many amazing things that people are doing, like Emma Malte, I was able to play with a bunch of other people at camp and even on Team USA and everything like that. And just seeing like Nelly and Josefin and things like that. I just think that it's going to be a really amazing year and I'm excited to see the players that pop out.
I also have one. Obviously, we all look forward to these WCHA matchups, but the Gophers do have a couple tournaments lined up, both the Vegas Showcase and the East-West Showcase right at home. So what are the thoughts going into those out-of-conference matchups?
I mean, those are some of the most fun when it comes to playing new teams and playing new styles. I think last year we kind of got a little bit caught up in that sometimes depending on where we played, but I think this year we're going to definitely come in with a different mindset and kind of just have those games to be learning experiences and playing different styles. I think when we go out and play out east, there's a different style to play. I think when you go out and play different teams in other places too, there's a lot of different things that you might need necessarily have to tweak or change. I think the Las Vegas showcase we're all super excited about. We love to travel as a team. Our team's super close, and travel days are always one of the best, especially when you got to wake up early, see everyone in the morning, and then you're with everyone all day on a plane. Those are definitely one of our favorite days. So whenever we're able to travel or play someone new, I think it's a new experience, and we're very excited for it.
All right. I think that's all we have time for. Thank you for the time, Taylor, and we look forward to seeing the Gophers on the ice this year.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. I think we are halfway through our teams. A lot of good stuff so far. Next, we head into Ohio State. Before that, we just want to remind you that this will be recorded and added onto our YouTube page. For media, use that raise hand feature to ask a question, and then we will call on you in the order that they're raised. And then just state your name and affiliation. So with that, we'll start with head coach Nadine Mozzarell. Ohio State comes to us as the 2022 national champions after earning a record of 32-6 last season. They went 21-6 in the WCHA, where in addition to their first national title in program history, the Buckeyes won in overtime to claim the 22 final faceoff championship. It was the Ohio State's third Frozen Four appearance in Coach Mozzarell's 6 years, and they were predicted to finish second in the WCHA coaches poll by just 1 point shy of first. Very tight standings. 3 players were named to the WCHA preseason all-league team from Ohio State, including Olympian Emma Malte, Patty Kazmaier finalist Sophie Jakes, and WCHA goaltending champion Amanda Thiele. Hi, Coach. A lot of good stuff to run through there.
What's up? Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Do you want to branch off? Do you want to talk more about it?
Absolutely. So thank you for having us today, and thanks to all the media that have shown up to show their love for the WCHA. We're very excited, obviously, to defend our title. It's the first time in program history that we go into the season ranked number 1. So of course, with that comes a giant target on your back and on your front, and probably on your forehead and everywhere else where people are gunning for you. And it's tough to maintain, as the only direction you can go is down, and you're going to get everybody's best. But we wouldn't have it any other way because we thrive on competition. So we're very excited for that. We're very excited for our 5th year returners and Peyton Leves, who you're going to come talk to after, as the Frozen Four tournament MVP. It's just great to see the growth of Peyton coming from 11 points her freshman year to 55 points her senior year and being, the tournament MVP. Of course, Sophie Jakes, who's won almost every award imaginable, including the Arthur Ashe Award, which is given to female and male of color in exemplary performance athletics in the community and academics. So we're very proud. She's the first Buckeye to ever win that award. And of course, Bazal being our quarterback, and Gabby Rosenthal goes under the radar and is a great 200-foot hockey player and the captain. And then of course, Emma Malte, who is one of 3 gold medalists that will be returning to college play. We have a big freshman class with 7. They're very energetic, very eager to learn. They have big shoes to fill, of course. And then, of course, a transfer in McKenna Webster, who will just bring a lot more depth to our offense. Very excited for Thiele and her preseason ranking. Again, big shoes to fill throughout the year. But when I hear myself talking out loud about all those players, it shows the depth that we have from up front all the way to the back. Understanding that the WCHA, as we've talked for many, many years, of being one of the best league in the country, it will be a unique year, as I've heard a lot of people talking already about this, with players coming back from the Olympics and players coming back from centralization. So it's nothing different in the sense of it happens every 4 years within our league. And we're really excited to take on that challenge.
Great. At this time, we will open it up for questions. Matt?
Nadine, what's it like to be the defending national champion, but then bring back an Olympic gold medalist in Emma, and what's it been like having her back around the program early on here?
You know, Emma's going to bring something that this program has never seen in her leadership. And what I mean by that is Emma's always been ranked #1 on our team in terms of offense and point production. And, you know, she was centralized and sitting in a locker room where she was a 4th line center, sometimes not dressing in games. And she now can understand and relate to the other players on our team that might not get a lot of ice time. I think one thing too, she's very vocal when she was here. And then when she's in a locker room surrounded with Poulin and Spooner, you know, your ears are open and your mouth shut. So she's learning a lot. And I think she's going to bring a great amount of knowledge of culture and locker room experience. And I mean, her talent on ice speaks for itself, of course. You agree, Flavia?
Yeah.
Nicole.
Hi, Nadine. Nicole Heisi, USCHO. I wanted to ask you about getting to bring Peter back and the import of being able to have him. Just his knowledge. He's just, I think, knows more than all of us on this call combined. So just what it means to be able to bring him back.
Well, even if he doesn't, he'll make you feel like he does, right? You know, Peter was very important to me at the time when I was a 2nd-year coach and transforming this program to be elite. Got to the Frozen Four right away with Peter, of course, knowledge and guidance, but he never really left. Although he was physically gone for 5 years, he was always calling me, always still telling me how to run our power play from afar and judging me. And but more importantly, and all joking aside, really encouraging me and continuing to be probably our biggest fan on Twitter and Instagram, talking with the girls and going to Beijing with an OSU sweatshirt and finding, you know, Spooner and Emma and Andrea and getting a picture with them with a Buckeye shirt. I mean, he wants to be here. I mean, his knowledge aside, we're very excited for, but he really respects OSU, respects what I've accomplished here with these young women and what they've accomplished. And he's very excited to come back for the right reasons.
Todd.
Hi, Nadine. It's Todd Mileski from the Wisconsin State Journal. I had a question for you. I saw a picture of McKenna Webster, your player supporting her playing field hockey, and I was just wondering what her schedule is like between the two teams. How does that work out? And maybe if you can just speak a little bit more about what she can offer to your lineup.
Todd, honestly, that's a great question because it has taken a village when we built that schedule. I give a lot of credit to Kelsey Klein and all her color coordinated images for a schedule. We're very meticulous about it, knowing she has her 20 hours. We are very involved with the schedule of field hockey. And then once they build their schedule for the week, we find out how many hours she has remaining that we can implement into our practice or our workouts. So for example, Friday, we're changing our practice time. Usually it would be 2 or 3 in the afternoon. McKenna's playing field hockey at 3 o'clock against the number 3 team in what team is it? Maryland, yeah, in Maryland. And so the whole team's going. We're going to lift and then we're going to go to her game and then practice after just to show our support. So, you know, it's tough on her in the sense of it might feel physically demanding, but she's really passionate about playing both sports. Right now, she's just, you know, doing a little bit of practice when the hours allow for that. And then once her commitment with field hockey is over, we'll talk about game time for her. But I don't think it'll be a hard transition because she looks pretty good in practice.
Other questions?
And I'd like to, just add on that. The one thing that McKenna did brilliantly too was she was here in the summer, and we're really big on our culture. And the fact that she was here for the summer, building relationships with players. She has 4 former players on the team now from Shattuck. And so I think it's an easy transition for her to come in because the girls know her and respect her as a person.
Zach.
Hi, Coach. Zach Rodier here from Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio and Big Ten Plus. I was wondering, after last season and the fan base growing for the Ohio State women's ice hockey team, what are you expecting out of the fan base this year, especially at the start of the season as the celebrations start to take place from last season, and then the season taking place starting on October 7th for you guys at home?
Yeah, the fans have been incredible. I mean, Peyton can speak to playing in front of them as well. But, you know, when we were going through that championship run there, I honestly, I felt the weight of the entire state of Ohio in a good way supporting us. And then they really showcased that after. And, you know, when we won at Minnesota, it was great, but there's multiple institutions with D1 women's hockey in Minnesota, whereas in the state of Ohio, it's just us. So when you win, the entire state is behind you. And, you know, we have such a great affiliation and relationship with the Blue Jackets. Our athletic department really shows respect and love to us winning for these young women. I know football gets a lot of love, but they just here in the state of Ohio really just want athletics to be the best. And they don't care if it's hockey or swimming or whatever. They just want us to win. And I think a proud moment, and Peyton can speak on this too, is, you know, number 2 football, OSU football is playing and hosting number 5 Notre Dame, and it is sold out. It is jam-packed. And they did a 45-second video of us. It got us out on the, you know, 50-yard line in front of 106,000 fans, standing ovation, cheering for you. And it just, again, showcased the love. So we do feel that fan base. It's going to be very important for us, you know, this year as we try to make a run to defend our title.
And our last one for Coach is Patrick.
Hey, Coach, this is Patrick Engels from the Columbus Dispatch. So obviously with your experience with Minnesota, you really know like what it takes to really have like a repeated champion. So you've won like multiple years in a row. So for Ohio State, like what do you think it's going to take for Ohio State to kind of reach that level of like eliteness, like elite program level? So in order to, I guess, repeat as champions again.
Seniors and good leadership. But in all seriousness, don't get complacent and don't ever get satisfied. I told them anyone can win one. It's hard to repeat and get multiple, right? And, you know, a lot of credit to Brad and the experience I learned with Brad and Joel at Minnesota, and taking a lot of that from being a player and as an assistant and now being a head coach. It's good to have that experience, but I think it's just, again, not getting complacent and really continuing to grind and not taking any days off, because like I said earlier, you have this giant target, you know, sitting right here and everybody's after you and you're going to get everybody's best. And it's just a constant reminder, and it's on, you know, us coaching and our staff to really make practice elite and difficult so that the game becomes easier for them. It's the mindset that we work well with, and we have a group of Focus 3 going to be coming back this season to implement hard work and commitment. And then it's on these, you know, captains and Gabby and Peyton and Emma to really uphold that standard of excellence and, you know, do it and embrace productive discomfort, embrace the suck, and look to your right and left and know that everybody's a unified front doing it. And so I think if they continue to be relentless and possess that honor in being a Buckeye, I think that they'll, you know, won't fall short.
Perfect. With that, we will move on to graduate forward Peyton Leves. Last season, she scored a goal in each Frozen Four matchup and set an Ohio State postseason record with 11 points to be named to the Frozen Four all-tournament team. Hi, Peyton.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Looking forward to another great year.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited.
Yeah, a lot of good things going there. Do we have questions for Peyton? There, Todd.
Hi, Peyton. The talent level of the WCHA keeps rising. We see that every year. Obviously, after an Olympic year, we see it where players are coming back. To players, what does that mean to have to know that you're going out every night in the WCHA and competing against some of the best in the world? How does that impact your preparation level as players and as a team?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Obviously, the WCHA, I feel, has always been the most competitive league, especially when we play Friday, Saturday. It's a grind during the weekend, and having to come back and play the same team the next day is really hard. And so I think preparing for that, like Muzzy said, we try and make practice harder than games are going to be. And that's a lot of kudos to Chris and our strength coach in preparing all summer. Like we had we had a good group of girls here this summer, just grinding every day, working super hard. And then we lean in on each other, and we got an Olympian back, and we've always had practices be tough and challenging, and we always compete against the best. And so I think practicing and having that level of excellence for yourself first, and then demanding that of your teammates, will get us that next level and prepare us for the weekends and the talent that's going to be returning in the WCHA.
Patrick?
Yeah, so like you said, getting a player like Emma back into the lineup as a forward, what does that kind of mean for you and your program, like just this season? Like what does having her return to your team mean for you guys?
Yeah, I think we're all super excited. I mean, personally, she's one of my best friends, so I'm really excited just to have her back every day, create the memories with her. But I think for us, learning from her and her experience and everything she's gone through, and then same with her, she missed out on last year. So I think her learning how our team was and stuff like that. So I think there's like a back and forth there, but I definitely missed competing with her in practice. She definitely pushes us to be our best. And yeah, so she's always challenging us. And I think she'll be, obviously, everyone knows how talented she is and how great she is on the ice during games. So we're excited to get that back. But I think just learning from what she had experienced this past year and bringing all of it together and kind of creating it to go forward this year, I think will be a lot of fun.
All right. Last two, we have Zachary.
Hi, Peyton. After a long period of celebration for your team last spring and this past summer, what are the challenges of flipping the script and getting ready for this season, especially with 8 new players coming into the fold?
Yeah, I think that's a really important message for us this year. Obviously, we got to celebrate what last year was all about and what we accomplished, and that was great. But right when the season started this year, even in the summer, we were ready to go. And honestly, we haven't done anything this year yet. And so this is a brand new team. We have a brand new personnel. So I think bringing all of that together, and we have a great foundation in our culture, and I think that'll help lead us from the start. But I think, like you said, our 8 new freshmen that are really excited and ready to go, and getting them transitioned into the league. And then obviously we have some returners and the transfer of McKenna Webster. And I think just bringing this team and making it a brand new team. Like last year's team is gone. Every year you have a brand new team. So I think we need to see what this team's all about. And then obviously we still have that standard of excellence, not even because of what we accomplished last year, but because that's what we look to do every single year. But it means a little bit more this year just because we're defending. So
last one, Todd.
What was the best part about being a national champion over the summer? What did you enjoy the most?
I'll plug my ears.
I think honestly, just in the moment of experiencing having that national championship with all the girls around you, because I mean, we go through a lot every day throughout practice, and just looking back on the year and kind of thinking about the good memories, the bad memories, and everything that was involved in what it costed to become a national championship. But obviously it was fun to celebrate. But honestly, once we got back here in the summer, Chris was like, it's ready to go. Like, you guys have to bear down. You have a season coming up. So I think there was a good break of like a nice celebration, but right when summer hit, we were ready to go and focused in on what was upcoming, and there was new things ahead. And so I think it's great to look back on what you've accomplished, but the hardest battle is your next day. So I think looking forward and attacking every day with that mindset helped us.
Great. Thank you, Peyton. And thank you, Coach Mozzarell.
Thanks.
Have a good one. All right. Up next, we go into St. Cloud State. Joining us, we have head coach Brian Idolski. It is his first season at St. Cloud State, returning to the WCHA after he spent 10 seasons at former league member North Dakota. Idolski coached China at the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing before taking over the St. Cloud State team that went 9-23-3 last season. The Huskies were selected to finish 7th in the preseason poll, just 1 point behind 6th, and returns 93% of the team's points from a season ago. Hi there, Coach.
How you doing?
Good. Would you like to let us know what's going on at St. Cloud State nowadays?
Well, obviously on the ice in our 8-hour segment. So starting to talk about culture, work ethic, a little bit about how we want to perform and how we want that to look like, not only in the locker room and in competition, but off the ice and in and around the community.
Do we have questions for Coach? Forum communications.
This is Mick Atten. Hey, Brian.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Just wondering, now that you've had some time, on the ice with everyone, including the three players back from the World Championships, what are things, I guess, that have struck you about, just the team and what you've seen, of the talent that you've inherited here?
Well, I think overall they've given me an honest run here with work ethic and some of the compete and some of the things that we want to emphasize. So that's encouraging. But as you know, in any kind of transition, there's some difficulties. You're really kind of a salesman trying to sell what you're doing, why you're doing it, and for the betterment of the club and individuals. So that's a process for sure. And normally when you have a situation coming into a season, you have a handful of newcomers having a group of older people kind of helping the coaching staff to encourage those values, morals, work ethics, structure. Right now, that's foreign to everybody and even my coaching staff. So a lot of work to do, but enjoying the journey so far and hungry to get into some game action so we can do some more teaching.
Todd?
Hi, Brian. It's Todd Molesky from the Wisconsin State Journal. I've heard some coaches when they come into a new situation want to set some non-negotiables for players and for themselves as coaches in terms of this is a baseline of things we expect just in terms of everyday things. Did you set things like that? And what kind of things do you expect to be non-negotiable with players at St. Cloud State?
That's a great question. I would tell you younger in my career, yeah, I would have came in, set the standard and said, this is what it looks like. And I probably would have burned it down to the ground and started over completely. A little older, pro hockey helped me. This is a process. We're engaging the players. They've got to take ownership of what this looks like. They have to have a say. They have to be the ones that go out and execute it and do it. So we're still very much in the process of creating that and having those conversations. And like I said, it's going to take a little bit of time, but I think that's the best way for ownership and for them is they've got to determine what our non-negotiables are, just not me telling them.
Mick?
Yeah, you were talking about the culture and stuff. What are things that you want to establish, or things that are I don't want to go into the non-negotiables, but I mean just things that you want to see as characteristics of this team.
Well, I think I have a long enough track record. We're going to compete. I think my teams have always prided themselves on we embrace compete. We want to be competitive. And quite honestly, if you're a recruit, that's the reason why you play in the WCHA. You want to be among the best of the best. You want to be pushed to be better, not only as a player, but a person. And you want to try to play at the pinnacle of what hockey is at college and hopefully beyond.
Mick?
Obviously, you guys have started in on some recruiting things. What's it been like, just getting getting back out there with that, and after your experience with pro hockey, this is a little bit different.
Yeah, it's different, Nick. Quite honestly, I've had to recalibrate a little bit. Obviously, being at the international level and the Olympics, the caliber of players, technique, style, overall talent, like it's the best of the best. So getting out and getting back in those circles and watching games and understanding the player pool has been really important for me. And so I'm starting to feel pretty comfortable with that. But at the same point, we're going to be very picky. I'm very picky. It's a privilege to play here, and it's an honor to play here. And so it's just not anybody off the street, and I'm not going to really just bring people in to bring people in. So it has to be the right kid, and so very much a work in progress. But you would prefer their 4-year commitments. But there's a lot of things I'm still digesting with the transfer portal and how that might play into what we're trying to do here.
Nicole.
Hi, Brian. Nicole Heisi, USHO. I know I talked to you specifically a little bit about this summer, but in terms of team chemistry and getting your team up and going, how important are the international players on your roster who bring in that experience at a high level and know more similar to what the style of game the WCHA plays?
Well, obviously, we're going to have to lean on those returning players. I mean, anytime you are medaling at international events, you understand what it looks like to play at a high level. You understand what the compete, the effort, and the sacrifice that goes into winning a medal at that level. So those are things we'll lean on. Those are things, obviously, not only on ice, but off ice are going to be very important for us and our club going forward.
And Mick has the last one.
With with having to change gears a little bit and add an assistant coach, how have things been going? Just getting to know your staff and with trying to establish what everybody's roles are going to be on that from that level, Brian.
Right. So coming in, it was important to me that I didn't just willy-nilly start doing things. So I tried to keep Janelle's role similar to what she's been doing. And then just evaluate it as we go. And then super excited to bring in Mira. Mira's a complete rock star. Like from day one, she just stepped in and, seamlessly, like she had been here and been on staff with me for years. So that was a very fortunate hire in a short amount of time. So super excited to have her. And the two of them, it's been good. It's only going to get better as we get more comfortable and work as a cohesive group.
All right. With that, Coach, I think your time is up and we'll head over to talk to Tatum.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Tatum Geyer. She's a graduate defender and one of 18 upperclassmen on the program this year. She served as an assistant captain for St. Cloud State and appeared in 29 games on the top blue line pairing last season. Hi there, Tatum.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Awesome. Mick has a question for you.
Hey, Tatum, this is Mick Hatton from the Rink Live. Obviously, I mean, the big news in the offseason has been the change in the coaching staff. Now you've gotten a chance to be around Brian a bit out on the ice and off the ice a little bit. Just give me some first impressions, I guess, of him and what you've noticed or things that have stood out, I guess, in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely the team, once we found out about Brian being named head coach, we were all super excited. We knew it was going to be different. Me being here for just going into my 5th year, I've had 3 head coaches now, so I kind of know what it's like having a new head coach step up. But just so far, I think the biggest thing is just pace of practice. Getting out on the ice, it looks a little different than it did in previous years, but everyone enjoys it. We love that. We love being pushed, and I think it's been great so far, and we're just ready to keep that rolling through the season.
Mick.
I mean, culture is a buzzword that, it gets used an awful lot in team sports. With, a new coach, there's always kind of a little bit of a change in culture. What are things, I guess, that have struck you? Again, I know it's early or whatever, but things that have struck you, I guess, just about from a culture standpoint that he's trying to establish.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest changes right now is just starting those culture conversations right off the bat. I think in previous years, it kind of takes a little bit, and we've kind of dug into it deeper in the season. But one of the positives is just we've been taking it head on. having those conversations as a group and with more leadership group on the team. So just getting it started early, I think, is great for us, get it established, and then again, keep it going.
Todd?
I'm wondering if from what you've seen so far skating and from previous seasons, who do you think can surprise people from St. Cloud this season? What players should we be looking for to do that?
Yeah, I think definitely we have those group of returners that have been playing at the national level. And it seems just about every time they come back from playing with their national team, they even surprise us. So, we got Newland and Himlarova coming back, and, they've just been off, that great time they had out playing out in Europe. So they're always great to have back. And then we also got a good group of freshmen that have just been surprising us as well. They're smart players and they're competitive. And I think they're ready to step into that league play as well.
And Mick is our last question here.
You've got a freshman defender who's played in the World Championships and played in the Olympic Games. So just give me some of your first impressions of seeing her out on the ice.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, she's a smart player. Usually coming into this season, things you look for is if they have that, hockey sense of playing at the higher level. And they do. You can see it on the ice. They have their head up. They're aware of where their teammates are on the ice. And they have the skill as well. Our European players they have that skill they bring to the ice. And it's been great. It's been great getting to play with them, getting to see how they play with the rest of the team.
Excellent. Thank you, Tatum.
Thank you.
Best of luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, before we head into our next team, one more reminder that this will be recorded and added onto our YouTube this afternoon. So you can go back and get all those quotes. And then to ask a question, just keep using that raise hand feature, and then we will call on you. After you state your name and affiliation, we will get to questioning. So up next, we will move on to Bemidji State with head coach Jim Scanlon. He enters his 9th season as head coach at Bemidji State, where the Beavers clocked in at 6th in the preseason poll. Last season, they marked an 11-20-3 overall record and 8-18-2 in the WCHA. Bemidji State placed a league high of 20 student athletes on the all-academic team, 15 of which were also named as WCHA Scholar Athletes. Last year, Bemidji State also had 8 Player of the Week honors and 2 named as Players of the Month, where this year 4 freshmen joined 11 upperclassmen to the program. Hi there, Coach.
Hello. How are we doing?
Good. A lot of good things to run through there.
Yeah, thanks. Apologize for the background. I don't have that nice background, but I thought that view of outside would be good.
Yes, we love seeing a glimpse of Bemidji.
That's right.
You want to let us know what's happening up there on campus?
Yeah, just really, really excited. It's always this time of the year is always just really exciting. You've got the newness of the new players, the excitement of the returning players coming back, and just seeing everybody come together and seeing the improvements that the returners have made over the summer. And now you're getting going. Now we're a day behind the Badgers in terms of starting our season. We'll start Friday here at home against Lindenwood. It's coming fast, so it's just again really exciting time of the year. I haven't listened to everybody, but again, I don't think I've ever seen as much talent throughout the league as there is this year. It's just phenomenal, the number of really, really good players that are in our league, and try to pick an all league team at the beginning of the year with that roster was extremely challenging. So it should be a lot of fun for the fans of our league to watch all the games this year, because again, all 8 teams are going to come out and play hard and be really competitive. So looking forward to it.
Us too. Do we have questions for Coach? Todd.
Hi, Jim. It's Todd Molesky from the Wisconsin State Journal. I've asked a couple of the players this. I'm interested in your thoughts on who from your team do you think can surprise people this year, or break out to a point where maybe you might expect it, but people around the league might see something that they haven't seen before out of them?
Well, I think if you look at our roster, Todd, we're going to have we had 5 freshman defensemen play pretty significant roles last year, and as you can imagine in this league, freshman defensemen that's a big challenge. And I thought all 5 really grew last year. The experiences that they got playing in our league, and now to see them, having that year experience under the belt, knowing what to expect this year, seeing just the growth of them and what they've done to prepare themselves physically. I'm really excited for that group in particular. I think all of them can really make an impact. I think there's some really outstanding talent amongst that group, and we're certainly going to need them. I think Hannah Hoganson's another one. I think she had some really spectacular games, but she comes in this year knowing that she's our number 1 goalie, and again, some really good experiences for her this summer. Being invited to the USA's goalie camp, I think was one example of that. So we know that group's going to be really important. But I think up front, again, we're going to need, in particular, our junior class is a group that really needs to step up and contribute. Certainly, Reese Hunt's our leading scorer coming back. She's been spectacular for us the past 3 years, and we know that she's going to provide offense for us. But we're going to need our junior class and some of our sophomores really to step up and contribute offensively. I think Claire Vekic is another name to keep an eye on. She was Rookie of the Week a couple times last year, and she's someone that can put the puck in the net for us. And really excited for our freshman forwards. All 3 are looking really strong, and they're all on the bigger side. They all move really well, and we're looking forward to seeing what they can do once we drop the puck.
Other questions? Nicole?
Hi, Jim. Nicole Heisi, WCHA.
Hi, Nicole.
I was curious if the expectation is that Hannah will take most of the time in net, or if you think that we'll see some more split time between your goalies.
Yeah, good question. Obviously, Hannah has the most experience. She's played in some, obviously really tough environments and done real well. And it really helped us last year particularly when Kerrigan went down in our 3rd game at Ohio State. I think she just stepped up. Certainly Abby Thompson is the other returning goalie. And I don't know if you recall when Abby went in at Madison last year in the 2nd game, she had that pretty rude awakening in her first period, which was the 2nd period, but then came out 3rd and really played well and shut the door against some outstanding players. So just that experience that she got will certainly help. And then our freshman Madison Fauché is a really talented goalie that's just finding out what college hockey is all about in our first few weeks here. So certainly they're all talented, but again, given Hannah's experience that she had, that's certainly going to give her a leg up, and we'll see how the season progresses. But she's looked real good so far in the preseason, and again, I know she's looking forward to the year starting. She's worked really hard physically to get herself ready for this season.
Todd?
Coaches talk a lot about getting better through the season so you're playing your best and you get into March. What does that mean for you? How do you map that out in terms of what you want to see get better by the time you're heading towards the playoffs?
Oh, sure. You can just, you take a look at our schedule, you can see that it's, there's a lot of different words you can use, challenging, formidable, daunting. But what we're looking at is one game at a time, and you want to see that growth every time out. And I just love how our group has gotten themselves ready. They kind of put, instead of me giving them my expectations, they've kind of come up with their own. And, one of them is control the controllables, and that's so important. It's just, but we want to attack every day. We want to bring energy every day in practice. And so far they've done exactly that. So, there's always going to be, highs and lows throughout the season. It's really important to stay on that even keel. But again, it's a process, and we have to all realize that our first 3 league series are at Minnesota, home to Ohio State, and at Wisconsin. So it'll be, if you look at that and think, oh no, you just got to come, we got to approach those games one at a time and have a mentality that we get to play them rather than have to. And that's the way we're going to go about our business, and know that we're going to be playing our best hockey in March. That's our goal. But we just want to see that growth every week, Todd, just in terms of how we need to play. Again, the lineup certainly is gonna look different at the end of the year than it will at the start of it. But we just want to see that growth throughout the year. Come and play hard every game. It's going to be we just have to have that mentality that we're going to compete as hard as we can. And it starts in practice, and we've seen that throughout the camp, and that's what we're going to need to do throughout the season.
We have time for one more question. I guess for me, Coach, are there any matchups on your schedule this season that you kind of have circled? Ones in particular you're looking forward to?
All right, now it's next Friday night. After the start of the season, Lindenwood's coming in here, and again, just the build up for that. I mean, that's what the players are looking forward to, and we just kind of reminded them. It's last Friday was 2 weeks out. This Friday it'll be 1 week out, and they know that. They know it's coming. But again, it's hard to circle one series in our league. They're all going to be extremely challenging. That's just a given playing in this league, and but that's what we're going to focus on, is that Friday game against Lindenwood. We'll go from there.
Perfect. Sounds great. With that, Coach, we will turn it over to Reese.
Yeah, she's right here, so she'll jump
awesome.
in. Thank you.
For our media, we just had a change here in our student athlete. We have Reese Hunt joining us now. She is a senior forward and assistant captain for the Beavers. She was forward of the week in 2021 and saw time in all 34 games and led the Beavers with 20 points and 107 shots on goal. Hi, Reese.
Hello.
How's the fall been so far?
It's been good. Yeah. Happy to be back.
Good. Is it still like at all summer up there, or already into fall mode?
It's getting more fall mode, but we've had some nice days.
It's been a nice fall so far. Do we have questions for Reese? Todd.
Hi, Reese. It's Todd Mileski from the Wisconsin State Journal. First of all, I love that when Jenna asked about what the weather there, you had to look out the window. It's like it might have just changed in the last 10 minutes. But I wonder what for your team, I asked Coach this, how, when you progress through a season, do you measure whether you're making the gains you need to? How for you as a player, do you, I guess, look into the way you guys as players are proceeding through the season and knowing whether, we're hitting the milestones we need to?
I think it all comes down to accountability and holding each other accountable. If we're giving it our all, if we're coming out, we're playing relentless hockey, I think that's a good measure of success. But of course, it comes down to winning hockey games. So that's, of course, what we want to do. But I think holding each other accountable and making sure we're all coming out and doing the best we can to be successful in games.
Todd.
I guess, how do you raise the level of expectation there? What goes into that in terms of how you guys as individuals and as a team make sure you're going for something bigger?
We've talked about a lot. We've had a lot of meetings about expectations, and everyone's super driven here. We all want to play. So I think the compete level has been nothing to worry about at all. We're all trying to get in that lineup and play in that first game. So I think it comes internally, and I think everyone leads off each other. So if you see one girl giving it her all, I think that can spread throughout the team pretty well.
Nicole.
Nicole Heisi, USCHO. Hi, Reese.
Hello.
In a conference like the WCHA, the wins aren't always going to cut. Like, it's tough to crack that top four. So what do you look for that shows that you're doing the things that you want to do, even if it doesn't come with a W at the end of the game?
Yeah, like I said earlier, there's no easy ice out here. Every game's just going to be such a battle. So I think, like I said earlier, making sure we are just giving it all we can. And I think also focusing on the little things, like making sure we are doing everything, like driving the net, stops and starts. If we can do those, hopefully they'll help us be successful. So making sure we're not stepping back at all, or holding each other accountable, making sure we're giving it our all. I think that's all we can really measure it by. And then hopefully success and points and goals will come with that.
Todd?
Who do you see from your teammates as having a chance of potentially breaking out and becoming, maybe a more recognizable player around the league than has been in the past few years?
I think our goalie Hannah, I mean, she's had some great success already, but we're so lucky to have her. I have a lot of trust in her, and I know she'll come and do great things this year. So I think her for sure. And then also, like Coach said, we had 5 freshmen D that had to play big roles. So I think this year, hopefully you'll just see them more and maybe see them up on the scoreboard a little more. I think they bring a lot to our team. Maybe it wasn't seen as much last year, like on the sheet, but I think you'll see them doing some pretty impressive things this year.
Any other questions for Reese? All right. Well, thank you for hopping on and joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, we head into our final of our 8 teams. We'll have Minnesota State on with head coach John Harrington. Minnesota State was voted to finish 5th in the preseason coaches poll after going 15-19-1 last season and 10-17-1 in the league. They recently received votes in both the USCHO and USA Hockey national preseason polls as well. Last season's playoff push included the Mavericks' first playoff victory since March 2014, where while the program welcomes 5 freshmen to the 21 returners. Coach Harrington, welcome.
Thank you, Jenna.
Thanks.
Good to be here. Just hustled up and from our morning ice time. So excited to be here and looking forward to the season getting started. It's crazy. Just got up and caught the tail end of Coach Scanlon there talking and, talking about the excitement, what it is. I know we've had that number countdown on our bulletin board in our locker room of number of days to our first game, and looking forward to next Friday against University of Manitoba, an exhibition game. And I know there comes a time after a while we'll in practice where you have to put your team on the ice and see what you have, and then we can go back and work on the things that we need to work on. So we're excited about it. It's been exciting to watch our team getting themselves ready since last season. Last season we had that a great playoff series against UMD in the quarterfinals of WCHA, and ended up going down in the 3rd game in overtime and to a team that eventually ended up being the national runner-up. And so I think that was a positive step for us. And I think our team last year showed great fortitude and great resilience. I mean, we had a lot of injuries. We played 5 goaltenders last year. 5 different goaltenders got a chance to play, but our players just learned to play hard and learn to do more and get themselves ready to play hockey. So I think they've kind of taken that through the summer training and into fall here, and it's excited about our leadership on our team. We have one girl that's a 5th-year senior who'll be with us a little later on the call here, Claire Budarak, and 2 others, Anna Wilgren, who's back from the U.S. national team and didn't play with us last year, and Charlotte Akravic, who was a 2nd-team all WCHA performer last year. So those 3, they lead vocally and they lead by example, and they've been tremendous for us as we've started to get ready for the start of the season here.
Do we have questions for Coach? Todd.
Hi, John. It's Todd Milewski from the Wisconsin State Journal. I'm wondering what has that said to you about your team, the players you had last year and the players that are coming back from that team last year, of how they managed throughout that season and how crazy some of the times were with goalies going down and injuries and losing a player to the national team, just before the season, that they got through it in the way that they did and always kept that, didn't let it fall apart. What did that say to you about them, and what do you think can be spun forward to this season from that? I don't know if it's spirit, but that kind of mentality that they had.
Yeah, Todd, I think for one, it just showed that, like, when we can pull together, that we can all together make up for any type of losses that we have. I mean, we knew about Anna Wilgren, who was not going to be there. I mean, we didn't know we were going to lose Jamie Nelson, the WCHA Rookie of the Year from the previous year. We didn't know we were going to lose her 3 games into the season to a season-ending injury. And but people stepped up, and sometimes I'll say as coaches, we don't always give everybody the opportunity to show what they have because of other players. And we had players that step up and did a great job last year, and they bought in. And I think our whole team understood that we can get more accomplished if we work together, that we can be bigger than we can be as individual parts. It was funny, with the injuries. I know with our goaltending situation, when we ran out of goaltenders, I mean, we got somebody out of the student body. One of our freshman players said, "Hey, I know a goaltender that's in the dorms and played with her in the summer. Maybe she'd come and play for us." And we got her into the net, Avery Stillwell, and she was using equipment from our men's goaltender from the previous year, and ended up playing against Ohio State and in Ohio State, and played great for us. And the girls played tremendous in front of her. It's like, this is what we're doing, and this is what we have, and we know she's going to play to the best of our ability, just like the rest of our players are expected to do. And so, but I think our players learned a lot about that. We have depth of good players, and we have players that understand if they play together, that a lot more can get accomplished than if we play apart.
Kevin.
Hey, John, it's Kevin Dudley with the Mankato Free Press. I think offensively, you guys took a really big step last year, and you already mentioned Jamie Nelson. You did that despite losing her so early in the season. How excited are you about the potential for another step offensively with her back in the fold now?
Well, I think good. I mean, I think we have a good depth up front. It's not one line of forwards that we're going to expect to contribute offensively. I think that we can put 3 lines out there that can play with some balance. And, you talk about defense a lot and how we have to play defense, but sometimes good defense is having the puck a lot on your stick. And I think that's what happened last year, our ability to control the puck and handle the puck and the ability to play the game on the offensive end with some energy instead of playing it coming out of our defensive end where we're trying to get it in deep and get a change and get somebody else out on the ice. So we're excited about some of our players that, losing Britt Fleming and who's now playing professionally with the Whitecaps here in Minnesota. It was a big loss, and she certainly had a tremendous year for us last year, but we have other players coming back, and certainly Kelsey King and Claire Budarak, Kennedy Bobick. I think we've got some players, and then some younger players that sophomores last year, Sydney Langseth and Madison Meshuga. Brooke Bryan is another senior, a 5th-year senior that I think that had kind of a tough junior or a sophomore year and came back last year strong with a good, strong offensive year. So again, I think it's like right now we always go in there, and I think we can do it by committee. That we can, continue to try to build our offensive game. And if someone steps up and has one of those big years, that'll be exciting for us, and it'll be beneficial to us.
Coach, you do start out your schedule this year with 3 nationally ranked opponents. What are the thoughts just getting right into it like that? It is a WCHA schedule, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we'll go, you're not even in the frying pan. You're right in the fire in our league. And it's that way every weekend. That's what our league is. That's why our league has been a national powerhouse forever. I mean, that's the way it is. And we understand that. And that's the challenge every weekend. And I mean, to see 4 of our teams right now ranked in the top 5 in the country, and I don't think anybody in our league expects it to be any other way. And so we look forward to that. I think when we look at those, we look at our season, whomever we're playing, our next game is our next best game. I mean, that's the one what we want to do. And we're gonna get some lessons given to us. I think we'll win some, and then we'll learn from some, but we get better because of that. But we're excited about our team. We feel we have a good team too, and so to start out right away, I don't know that anybody doesn't start that way in our league because of the strength of the schedule.
Mm-hmm. And with that, last year you cracked into the national polls, even with only 10 teams on it. This year with the expansion and polls going to 15, how exciting is that to hopefully get Minnesota State into that national recognition?
Well, it's great. I think it's exciting for our team, and it's certainly for us. It's we understand we're making progress. I mean, we can think certain things about our team as we go into the season, but it's what other teams and other people think of your team too, which is really important. So that's a big a pat on the back for us, but we understand that's all it is, and that we have to go out and show that we belong, whether it's in in the top 15, or it's in the honorable mention, or it's in the top 10. I mean, every night you have to go out there and justify what people think of you, and certainly more importantly, what our own team thinks of us.
Excellent. Do we have any other questions for Coach? All right. Thank you, Coach Harrington. Is Claire there with you?
Yeah, she sure is. She can
Perfect.
come. Yep.
We'll just hand it off. So with that, our final student athlete on today is Claire Budarak. She is a captain and forward of one of 12 seniors this year. She appeared in 25 games last season, where she scored 3 goals and had a career high of 8 assists. She was named to the all academic team and as a WCHA scholar athlete. Hi, Claire.
Hello.
How is it being back on campus?
Oh, it's awesome. I love being here. I'm so happy I got to come back for one more year with this group.
Great. Do we have other questions for Claire? Kevin. Kevin? Kevin, are you there? Maybe we'll come back to him. Do we have other questions for Claire? Nicole?
Hi, Claire. Nicole Heisi, USCHO. I've asked this a few times today in different ways, but just wanted to get your thoughts on, in such a tough conference, when moving up, breaking through that top 4 can be really difficult. What are the things that you talk about in the locker room, like as a leadership group? What are the things that you talk about and look to show that you're doing the things you want to do, even if the answer isn't, wins at the end of the day?
Yeah, for sure. As it's been mentioned many times before on this call, our league is it's a grind every time you step on the ice. You have to earn everything, every inch ice that you get on game night. So I think one of our things that we really focus on, and starts from our coaches, is just controlling what we can control on the ice, and making sure that every time that we step out there, we're doing our best, giving 100%, and making sure that we're putting forward the kind of hockey that we've been practicing all week. Sometimes, like you said, doesn't return in a win, but we want to make sure that our effort is always there, and that we are personally doing what we can to make sure that we're putting out Maverick hockey.
Something I noticed on campus last year, it seems like the Mavericks are just such a fun group. Like, you see behind the scenes, going, on the ice. What are some things your team does to create that team culture?
Oh yeah, it's definitely, I would say this group this year is super close and super fun to be around, for sure. A lot of things that we do is we really just make sure that when you step foot on campus, you're feeling included in the team, that there's no sort of like rankings, as you would say, in maybe older school hockey, but we just make sure that everyone feels welcome, and we all hang out with each other, intermix with each other, and honestly, like, we're just together all the time. We really are each other's best friends, and it's really nice to have such a close-knit group, because it makes going out there and playing for each other that much more exciting, and makes it more rewarding when you do get those wins against those big teams.
Kevin?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're Perfect. Good now.
Perfect. this was already kind of touched on, but in terms of those big four teams, I know the goal is not only to compete with them, but to beat them. How much did the postseason series last year against UMD kind of show this group and all the returners that playing with and beating those teams is, something that, you can do night in, night out?
Yeah, that was a big series for us. I know Coach had mentioned that we had a few of our key players out for that series, and even with them watching in the stands, like we really showed as a team and as a group that we do have the depth compared to those other teams in our league, and that it's no one's game. You can show up and anyone can win. So I think that series really helped to propel us into this season and kind of gave us a little bit of fire coming into this season as what we want as some of our goals moving forward. You don't want to, like you said, just compete, like you want to beat them. And I do think that this team coming into this year is going to prove that to a lot of people.
Todd.
Hi, Claire. It's Todd Milewski from the Wisconsin State Journal. Can you give us a sense of maybe who some of the players on your team who might surprise some of us that, or maybe that just haven't had the recognition, around the conference before, but might get it this year from the way that they play?
Yeah, that's going to be a tough question because I really do think we have a lot of good players on our team this year, but two people definitely come to mind. I know Coach was talking about Brooke Bryant. She's a fifth-year senior. She's a very dynamic player, can really finish. And I think this year, the way she's looked in preseason, she's going to have a really good year, and that's going to be really big for us up front. And then also, I know Coach mentioned her as well, Kennedy Bobick. She is one of the grittiest players I've ever gotten the chance to play with. And I really think that skill coming into this year and in this league is going to push her to be one of the top players on our team for sure.
Do we have any other questions for Claire? All right. Well, thank you for your time, Claire, and best of luck on the ice this season.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we want to thank all of our media members who joined us today, along with our head coaches and our student athletes and those athletic communications people on each campus for helping us line all this up. This will be recorded and added to our YouTube shortly. Thanks again, and we look forward to another great year of WCHA hockey.